Here, let's do this. Shut this. That was so clean. See, it's got an angle. And it's less leverage. Still put a little thing in the front. He's not doing anything back here. He's not touching it. Well, they don't touch it. I mean, it's not even touching. Nothing's touching it.
Perfection.
In case it falls this way, which I don't think it will. All right.
You can rearrange anything you want to move. Thank you for your nice note.
It just made me laugh. The way you know it was
clever way for you to say, I'm reminding you that you said you'd write something.
No, that was just. I just had to say that was great. It really was. That's what I thought.
Appreciated it.
I did.
Tongue in cheek. I had to get back.
We all. I mean, I looked at that and I went. I think she meant the other. We know what she means.
Yes. No one showed up here on Friday.
I was concerned about people showing up. Forgetting to turn their clocks back. Unfortunately, didn't have one fire.
Yes. Okay. And you have a safe path.
Yep.
All right. Good.
You know you'd handle it.
That's good.
You're gonna ring your little bell. I'll ring your little bell. And then they're gonna ring the big bell and they're recording. guys. I got a room where there's words first. This song is called Blessings for the Dead. It was written by a music person in Jacksonville, Florida. I don't remember who it was.
Good morning. Welcome to the Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, located on occupied ancestral land of the Muskogee Creek Nation, in a building constructed by free, formerly enslaved African Americans. My name is Robert Zavala, and I, along with Chris Bastier, will be serving as service associates today. Some of us are bringing our best selves to this place, and some of us are bringing some struggle. All of us are loved. Some of us already have open hearts, and some of us are getting there. Your heart is always welcome here. We welcome you among us. What happens in this space is powerful and life-giving. Together we affirm that this day, and our being together, can make each of us braver, more compassionate, and wiser than we woke up this morning with an extra hour of sleep. We welcome you here. On behalf of the members of the fellowship, I extend a special welcome to all visitors who are joining us for the first time, and for those of you who still feel like visitors. If you have not already done so, please fill out our visitor book. I would say in the front, the back there near the greeters, or digitally by visiting AUUF.org/visitor! Exclamation point. You may also contact our minister, Reverend Chris Rothbauer, at minister@auuf.org with any questions or concerns you may have. As we prepare for our service this morning, please remember to turn off your phone and other electronic devices to silence. Let us move into the service willing to be authentic with each other, honest within ourselves, and open to connection in all forms. I have a little break here because I would like to first of all acknowledge the really nice altar that our aesthetics committee Yeah. And if Laura or Amy, could you come up and explain just a little bit about what's happening here?
Sure. What's happening here? What is happening here? We have photos of those who've passed, those we want to remember, and we have sculptures and other things of, like over here, there's like a little chain with a little beads on it, and up here we have a scarf and so a little pin and a penny, and over here we have a mortar and pestle, and a beautiful painting of a flower, and a harmonica, and a bird, and this, I don't know what this is, but there's that. And then this over here is a photo album. It's not of anybody we know, but they are people, families, and it represents all of, our families and what it means to be in a community and have a family and represent your ancestors. And then there's a blank space there for the future photos to come. And then we have candles here. So when it comes time for lighting candles, and you want to light a candle in memory of someone, you may just do that. And then enjoy it when you come up here, gazing at all these lovely items. What's that? Oh, the quote. Yes. Thank you. I'm going to read this, pick it up and read it so you can hear me. The character of a community is revealed in the way it honors its loved ones.
Thank you. Thank you for the altar. What we have in our service today interspersed are some remembrances. I'll start with the first one. I called my sister and I said, I think I killed Dad. I guess I'd better explain. I was picking up Sadie at the end of her city-year commitment, where she worked in an elementary classroom in Jacksonville, Florida, after graduating from college. Since she was about an hour north of where my father lived in assisted living, I suggested that we drop by on the way back to Auburn. When we got there, it was about mid-morning, and he was in a day room, and I asked if he had had breakfast. Though he said yes, I asked if he wouldn't like to go out to McDonald's and get a biscuit and some coffee, which I got a very enthusiastic yes. So we're at McDonald's, just talking about anything, nothing. When my father asked me, why are you at work? And I said, well, I'm helping Sadie move back to Auburn and we're visiting you. And he replied, okay. And we keep talking. And then out of nowhere, he says, let's go to the beach. And then I said, didn't you just ask me why I wasn't at work? And anyway, we're about to head back as soon as we take you back to your room. And he said, okay. And then on the way back to his place, it occurred to me, stupid, if the old man wants to go to the beach, you go to the beach. So I let Sadie in on the change of plans, and we head to the beach, which is only about 20 minutes away. Once there, we take off our shoes, roll up our pants, and head down the beach. We walk, we talk, we take a few photos. It's something we did hundreds of times. Growing up, we'd go to the beach and we would do that. Well, after a while, we've gone a pretty fair distance, and I suggested we, head back. And, I said, why? I said, well, we walked a really long way, and we got to walk back. And he was starting to slow down and kind of bend over like he was into a headwind. And so he agreed. Now, we had only walked about halfway back before I knew that he needed to sit down. He was not going to make it all the way. So I told Sadie, stay with him, and I trotted back to the very beginning where there was a lifeguard station, and there was a pickup truck right by there. So I got there, and there were these three young dudes, they're sitting there talking, and I said, I wonder if you could help me. I took my father for a walk, and he can't make it back. To which one of the guys replies, why did you walk so far? Now, I realized I have to be careful in my answer because I want their help. So I said, I just didn't realize how far we went. So they said, hop on back. I'm expecting that, all these regulations and safety and all that stuff, the tailgate's down, hop on back. So I hop on back, and we drove from Sadie and my father are, and they hop on the back too. And so the three of us are on the back of the tailgate, and we're driving down the beach. It's pretty cool. It's kind of fun. Well, we get back to my father's room. I said, I'll be right back. And I go to the head desk, and I said, well, we've gone for a really long walk, and he probably needs to get some water at some point. And they said, okay, yeah, we'll look after him. It's no problem. But by the time I got back, he was fast asleep. I mean, he is on the bed, and he is like this. He's like this, and he has this smile on his face. And I quietly said my goodbyes, and I headed out. And then I got in my car, and I called my sister, and I said, I think I killed Dad. And then she said, that's okay.
We light our chalice this morning with these words by Kathleen McTeague. We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces and see their communion, the reflection of our own eyes. This house of laughter and silence, memory and hope is hallowed by our presence here. As is our tradition, we also light a candle in solidarity with those families separated at our southern border. Our opening hymn is number 128 in the Great Hymnal, For All That Is Our Life, verses 1 and 3.
Now, this actually means that you guys get to sing. Don't do they stand?
Dealer's choice.
Stand if you like it, and let it belt.
All that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build the common good, and make our own days glad. 3, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life.
Didn't that feel good?
One of the ways that we proclaim the warmth and caring of our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. If you're joining us virtually, we invite you to type in your joy, concern, or milestone in the YouTube chat box. We invite those in person, one at a time, to drop a pebble into our communal bowl during the music for meditation. I am true. And now, if you have a spoken joy concerning a milestone, if you'd like to come forward and briefly say it.
Out of the blue, my older son came to visit me in the wee hours of the morning when I was 2 o'clock in the morning. He arrived, and his name is Sean Ostrowski. I hope you will welcome him. I guess you know I'm Connie Ressler. I received in the mail yesterday something about the Barack Obama Presidential Library, which you probably know will be in Chicago. So I'm leaving this over there by the pumpkin and things over there. And it's very interesting. They have dug the first shovelful in September of this past year. And there's a really nice photograph of what it's going to look like. So anyway, and there's a nice letter. You might want to read it in your spare time and all that. You know.
Cool.
So, a joy, some of you may not be aware that some months ago, the Biden administration signed an order allowing over-the-counter hearing aids. And so if it's been a financial hardship for you to pay $8,000 for a set of hearing aids, they're going to be much more affordable over the counter. If family history is an indication, I'm going to need some probably sooner rather than later. My oldest brother called me on Friday. He said, so I picked up some hearing aids from CVS the other day. I said, oh yeah, how are they? He goes, the world is really noisy.
is up because I got the microphone, I can say this. Anyway, I think it's a joy too that for those who wish don't have to ask, and also a joy that we can join Martha in the choir with singing. May all the joys, concerns, and milestones of this community, those shared aloud and those held in silence, be received to the care and concern of all present. Our second remembrance is by Amy Kaiser.
This is a ghost story. That's the only way to explain how what happened, happened. It's not a scary ghost story, but it is a ghost story nonetheless. The story starts in 1972 when a friend whose father was serving in Vietnam told a group of us high school friends about the POW MIA bracelets. These were metal cuff bracelets bearing the rank and name of an American serviceman captured in Vietnam, a POW, or who was missing in action, MIA. People who wore a bracelet agreed to wear it until the soldier or his remains returned to America. Several of us decided to wear one of the bracelets in protest of the war. The name on my bracelet was Lieutenant Colonel Eric Engelhardt, Eric with an H at the end, and an unusual spelling of Engelhardt without the T at the end. I wore the bracelet, never taking it off, for more than 2 years until sometime during my first year of college. I decided to take the bracelet off for reasons I don't now recall. I put it in a drawer at home for safekeeping. As far as I knew, Lieutenant Colonel Eric Engelhardt had not returned home, nor had his remains, but I knew of no way to find that out. In the late 1970s, spearheaded by a group of Vietnam veterans, plans were developed to build a memorial in Washington, D.C. to honor the members of the U.S. Armed Forces who served and died in Vietnam. After breaking ground in March 1982, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial was completed and dedicated in November of that same year. It was a memorial unlike any that had been erected in D.C. before. Unlike the war it was built for, it was rife with controversy. Designed by architect Maya Lin, a 21-year-old woman of Asian descent, the memorial is a black, highly reflective granite V-shaped wall built into the side of the hill. The 144 granite panels were inscribed in chronological order with the names of the 58,000 men and women who were killed or missing in action during the war. That's a lot of names. Robert and I were in Northern Virginia a few weeks after the dedication of the memorial and drove to D.C. to see it. It was breathtakingly beautiful and emotionally riveting. But even more gripping was seeing others who had come to see the memorial. Small clusters of men in fatigues clinging to each other. People sitting in the grass nearby sobbing as they gazed at the wall. Families leaving mementos in front of the granite panel bearing the name of those they had lost. The granite walls are surprisingly reflective, almost mirror-like, capturing the faces of those who walk along the wall. And many of the items left as mementos in front of the wall are red or partly red in color: flowers, flags, stuffed animals, which all contrast sharply with the reflective black granite. I was interested in photography at that time and had my Minolta SLR camera to use, and the wall memorial was full of high-impact scenes to photograph, all of that red reflected in the black granite. After walking the length of the wall the first time through, I decided to pick someone or a family to follow as they looked for a particular name. My telephoto lens would allow me to keep a respectful distance. At both ends of the wall, there are alphabetical list of the 58,000 names inscribed on the wall, with a panel and line where each name can be found. I spotted a woman and a younger man looking for a name at the East End catalog. She wore a beige shirtwaist dress. He wore jeans and a gray sweater, and they both had red hair. Clearly, mother and son, and because of their hair, easy to track as they walked. And walk they did. I walked alongside them from a distance, taking a few photos of their progress, testing out the telephoto lens. Then the son stopped, put his hand on his mother's shoulder, and pointed up. She leaned in, looked up, following her son's fingers. She looked up, following her son's finger. It was a beautiful photographic opportunity, so naturally composed and emotionally compelling. I zeroed in on the name as they both pointed at it, and I'm betting you know that name. Lieutenant Colonel Eric Engelhardt. H on the end of Eric, and T not on the end of Engelhardt. I did not take that picture. I was too stunned. What to me had been an exercise in photographic composition and storytelling had suddenly become very personal. Somehow, Lieutenant Colonel Eric Engelhardt's wife and son came to see his name on a granite wall. At the same time, I happened to be there. I chose Lieutenant Colonel Eric Engelhardt's wife and son because they had red hair, and I followed them from a distance to the west panel number 2, 22, and saw his name on line 111 at the same moment they did. 58,000 names on that wall, and Lieutenant Colonel Eric Engelhardt's wife and son pointed to the only name I could have possibly known because I had worn it on my wrist for over 2 years. I wish I could say that I made my way down the grassy incline, introduced myself to Lieutenant Colonel Eric Engelhardt's wife and son, expressed remorse for their loss, gotten their address, and mailed the bracelet to them. But I didn't. And 40 years later, I still regret that. What's more, over time, I lost track of the bracelet bearing Lieutenant Colonel Eric Engelhardt's name. All that's left is a pretty good ghost story.
Thank you, Amy. The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to this people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. Our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission. To make a donation online via PayPal, please visit AUUF.org/donate. If you're writing a check, please make your check payable to AUUF with a note on the memo line about whether it is for the offering or your pledge, and drop it in the offering bowl, or mail it to P.O. Box 669, Auburn, Alabama 36831. The offering will now be gratefully received.
This song is called Think on Me. The words are attributed to Mary Queen of Scots.
Behold, you think on me.
And now it's time for Angela.
I'd like to invite all of my friends, young and old, big and small, young at heart, just wanting to come down front to come on down front. Today we're going to have a story about remembrance boxes. And I like to think of what the grown-ups have done here as kind of a memory box. So while we hear the story about this girl who builds a memory box, I want us to think about what we've done here as a fellowship, to remember the people that we love. I watched it fly higher than the trees, above the clouds, past where I couldn't see. That was sad. See what happened? What happened? She lost her balloon up in the sky. Oh, I hate when that happens. What happened to you ever?
Didn't you just go to Target and buy a new one?
But it's not the same, is it? It really is not the same, and plus we have that whole healing shoulders. I think she might have lost something else too, though. But not as sad as I am now. I can always go to Target and get another balloon. But I can never have another you. I miss you. Sometimes I wonder what happens to your love now that you're gone to midnight. Because I'm scared I'll forget you. I practiced really good. Sometimes I wish I could still give you a hug. I would hug you so deep. And a great big hug I could never let go. I'm making clocks. I won't forget you. With our memories, like sand from the beach where we played and left footprints as we ran from crashing waves, I want to go everywhere we've been, everywhere you've been, everywhere we wanted to go. I go to places that help me think of you. I look around and remember, and it makes me smile. Then I find the perfect thing to put in my memory box. Some days are good and I laugh. And you guys feel this way. Other days I wonder if I'll ever stop feeling sad. But I always think of you. So many things remind me of you. Today I'm asking you everyone memories of you. Silly, sweet, some just so you. I'm listening to every word, imagining you laughing with us. They're all telling stories and putting things in the box. It helps me when I think about our special times, and it even helps to still do the things we planned to do together. You're still with me in my heart. Now, I'm making new memories. My first time on a roller coaster, exploring a new place. She got to go to the places where they wanted to go together. I'll always share these memories with you. See, it says memory, and then it says on the side, I will always remember you. With little X's for kisses. Yeah.
May your minds be open to new learning. May your words bring freedom to the world. May your hearts suffer love and your hands do justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Yeah, what was it?
Today, as we remember those loved ones we've lost this past year, let us also remember those in our fellowship who have gone before us. May their sacrifices to build this congregation inspire us to live up to their memories, and may their spirits always inhabit our service wherever it may go.
First, remember the founders of our fellowship, without whose vision for a liberal spiritual community in the Auburn and Palaika area, we would not be here today.
Next, we remember those ministers who have served our congregation in the past and recognize their legacy as continuing with us today.
And we remember those members of our fellowship who have passed during this past year.
Delos McCown,
Michelle Westmoreland,
Michael Garrett,
Chastity Hurd,
Anna Louise McCown,
Paris Ewing. Now we'll have our third remembrance by Lorna Wood.
I want to say a few things. I brought this statuette of a scribe for my mom. She was an Egyptologist. And I want to tell you something funny. She learned hieroglyphic, and the first sentence that she translated was, "I plow my field with both my asses." I think I got asked to play today because I think I told Amy the story about how when I was playing, I was playing my dad's sonata. I played it at the museum. I was getting ready, and my dad came in, and he had vascular dementia. And he said, "That's a nice piece. Who wrote that piece?" And I said, "You did, Dad." And he said, "Oh, that's so nice. I'm so glad I wrote that piece." That's one of the only sort of sweet memories I have from that time, which was very difficult, and I don't think I handled it very well. Anyway, I can't play that piece because it has a very difficult demanding accompaniment that I didn't want to burden Martha with because she has enough on her plate. So I'm going to play one more time the piece that he wrote for my wedding. It's called Forlorna.
We invite you to come forward down the center aisle one at a time. You're invited to light a tea light candle in honor of the person or persons that you wish to remember. And if you wish, I invite you to speak your loved one's name and your relationship to them into the microphone up front. And if you have something brief to share, you may do that too. And once you're finished at the table, please return to the seat, and you may come forward as you are ready.
I don't have anything with me because I didn't remember about it until you gave your story. And I wore my bracelet when I was in grad school at UG, and I twisted it kind of down bleachers, which weren't open. The gentleman's name was Sergeant Gary S. Laban, and his hometown was somewhere in Indiana, and I got a replacement bracelet. There's a place in Columbus that does it. And every once in a while I think about him. And I asked my husband, who was in Vietnam, about his experiences. And the only time he really talked about it was when he was drunk. And he doesn't drink beer anymore because he's allergic to hops, which really sucks. Because he really liked his beer. But in any case, there were a lot that, and I talked to him about his experiences. And he grew up in Hurtsboro, which is this little place in the road if you go down, whatever that road is. I can find it, don't ask me the name. And he said that when he got home, the people there all said, "We're glad you're home, thank you, whatever." Whereas, I'm sure you heard about all the people that returned from the war and got spat upon and yelled at and everything else. And they didn't ask to go, but they did what they were told to do. And living or dead, they all need to be remembered with thanks.
This is a little more complicated than I thought it was going to be getting candlelit. I got this candle from my grandmother, Alice Mae Chapman. When I was growing up, she used to tell me all these stories about her and her mother. This was during the Great Depression, and they would get up in the early morning and bake biscuits and fry bacon, make these big meals, and take them down to the hobos that was camped out by the spring on the railroad track. And this week, pardon the shameless plug, the Camp Hill Food Pantry finally got its own space after 5 years, and we're now set up like a little grocery store where people can come and get their food and shop. So, Granny, I think something left a mark. Thank you.
I'm going to remember my friend Susan Locke, who was my age and died at 57. I miss her very much still. But I brought to the altar today a tie-dye scarf, a silk scarf that she made that I then bought from her and gave to my mother as a gift. So I'm honoring my mother, Jean Marie McGowan Kloberg. And my dad, I brought a penny because he was very frugal. Very, very frugal. So up here, oh, and then to remember Susan, she told me, you know, when she was in the late stages of life, she told me that whenever I see a dragonfly, she'll be with me, and I see lots of dragonflies a lot. So I think that's pretty cool. And I brought a little dragonfly pin that went on the scarf that's up there.
Light a candle for all three. If you don't like to.
I'm gonna light one for my mom, Millie, and then one for my grandparents, Paul and Vi, because they would have wanted it that way. those of you who knew Ken Walters knew that he loved elephants. He would buy an elephant at the drop of a hat. One day, one time I counted, I think I have 25 elephants in my house. They were all owned by Ken, who was the sweetest man. Oh, and here's a great picture of him. In fact, that was on our wedding day, which was a long time ago.
Doesn't seem that it wants the light. There we go.
I am lighting a candle this morning for several of my family members who have gone on. Robert Richard Denmark Sr., my grandfather. Gladys Louise Church Denmark, my grandmother. Auntie Sarah Denmark, one of my aunts, from Daddy's side. Auntie Maybelle Dempsey Bryant from my mama's side. Herbert Walter Denmark Sr., my father. Deborah Denise Denmark, one of my sisters. She died under another name. And Lance Terry, my nephew, who died via gun violence. Thank you.
I want to light a candle for my little girl, Scarlett. I had her for 18 years, and this past month I had to put her down. It's really hard. I just wasn't prepared I thought I was. I still wish she was here. But thank you for doing this today, y'all. This just happened. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Lord. This is for both of my parents. One I lost quickly, and one I lost several times due to Alzheimer's. So I know in neither ways. Thank you.
Light that candle for my sweet husband, Eddie, who just like that candle brought light and warmth everywhere he went. I'd like to thank y'all for sharing the life with him. He loved all of you. Thank you.
I had one candle for my father, Anthony Travis Watley, who died several years ago, and one for my Aunt Donna, who died a few weeks ago of brain cancer.
I lit 3 candles, 3 points of light that made me what I am today. My wife, whose painting I brought, it hangs in my bedroom as a remembrance of her. It's entitled Camellia. The other 2 people are my mother and father, both of them from society's class of helpers, workers, come from a long line of people supporting work. My father, in one of his emanations, was a manager of a shoe store, and he got me to work there. And I always marveled at his ability to add. Forever, numbers were just a delight for him. He's manager of Mary Jane Shoe Store. This is back in the day when shoes sold for $1.99, $2.99. If you wanted a really brilliant shoe, it was $3.99. Those days are gone. And my mother worked alongside him, the daughter of a labor leader in Chicago. And she was a very sweet person. I remember her always. So those are the 3 guiding lights in my life. I hold them close. Thank you.
Right, CJ, that's tougher than it looks. My candles are lit for my mother, Anna Marie Wenzel Kaiser, My father, Frederick Ferdinand Kaiser. My mother loved birds. My father loved boats on the sea. So I guess you could say they could agree on seagulls.
I light my candle in honor of my father, William Lewis Ostrowski, who was a lifelong smoker and died young, I think 62, pancreatic cancer. I'm so glad we now know so much more about the damage and the harm cigarette smoking can do and how linked it is to cancers and emphysema and things like that.
I just lit a candle for my mother-in-law, Rand Valdez. She's the reason I'm back here in the country right now. She never got all the credit she deserved.
I'm lighting a candle for my grandfather, Robert Arthur Matson, who was the illegitimate son of an ethnic Swedish refugee from Russian-occupied Finland and an Irish-American socialite. He grew up impoverished on the streets of Boston, Massachusetts, selling newspapers to help support his family, and then went to fight for the United States in the Second World War, parachuting onto the beaches of Normandy. When I knew him, he had a fantastic baseball hat collection in the mudroom of his house. He's a great guy.
Hi, I'm Carter. I lit a candle for my maternal and paternal grandparents, as well as my father and my stepfather, and I lit one for my spouse's maternal grandparents. I think what's so poignant about today is seeing that loss is a universal experience in this thing we call life, but that it's also all born of love. And it reminds me of a quote that I wanted to share about grief is simply love with no place to go.
Oops, this is more complicated than I light a candle for my mom,
She was 88 when she died, and she was probably one of the most stubborn, determined women I've ever known, and was a wonderful mom to me and my brother. She always felt like there was no problem that couldn't be solved. She was always there for me when I had issues. She was in a retirement community, assisted living, the last 4 or 5 years of her life. And I got a call from one of her nurse's aides who said, "I have to tell you what your mother just said." And I'm thinking, oh Lord, what is this? And she said she just was sitting there in a chair and she started to sing, "Hooray, hooray, the 1st of May, outdoor screwing starts today."
I'm involved in working around abandoned cemeteries, so I just wanted to light a candle for all those families that history has forgotten. There are many of whom were enslaved, and I'm always amazed at the contributions that those families have made.
I lit 2 candles, one for Lacey's and Aunt Avis Patrick, who we lost a couple months ago very suddenly, and then one for all the loved ones who have gone before me, my paternal grandparents, Joe and Terry Baskier, my paternal grandparents, Charles and Mary Smith, my uncle Richard Baskier, Aunt Rachel McMahon, and my high school girlfriend, Jennifer Hanisick, who took her own life in 2010.
I just wanted to re-acknowledge all of our members who are on this little plaque right here, who will soon show up on the plaque over there, because the foundry where we have the names created is in Fort Myers, Florida, and Ian passed through right as I was about to place the order, and I went, well, I guess I'll wait. And so I placed it after Ian had gone through, and the foundry, which is International Bronze, they survived just fine, because I guess they're a foundry and everything's heavy there. And anyway, so I wasn't sure, it's like takes 6 to 8 weeks for orders to come through. So I made, the paper plaque, because I wasn't sure if it would be here in time. And to my surprise, last evening on my front porch, they have been delivered. So I will be putting them up this week.
Well, I guess I'll close out with, I brought a mortar and pestle that my mother used to grind her garlic. And even though it hasn't been used in probably 25 years, you can still smell the garlic. So. And for my father, actually, Amy brought something for my father with the album. It was funny, when he was still living by himself, in the guest room that we stayed in, he had some, those metal frames that, you know, and it had the people that from the store in the frames. I said, Dad, who are these people? I don't know. So he had a whole new family somewhere. Well, thank you all. Thank you. Our closing hymn is number 331, Life is the Greatest Gift of All, and we'll sing verses 1 and 2.
Please rise. Now this is the first time we have sung this particular hymn, so if it takes a while to get the hang of it, don't be surprised. Life is the greatest gift of all, the riches on this earth. Life and its creatures, great and small, of past bounds all run. Some creature did and measure it with these of shining pearl. Life is the greatest gift of all, does not compare your marks. It sings creation's hidden plan, it sweats the mountains all marks. It rains the wind, it shakes the storm, it wakes the outpost stars.
Please join me in extinguishing our chalice. You will not find words in your service. So if you can remember them, that's good. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Please be our guest today after the service for our coffee hour outside near the bush. No, we're not outside. We're going to be inside, in here. This is an opportunity to check in with folks about the service and how their week has gone. If you're not signed up for our email list, please make sure to do so to receive updates about ways to connect. You can find information on signing up on our website, auuf.org/subscribe. And I welcome any announcements at this moment. I have two. First of all, if you're either have been talking with us about the campus ministry or if you're interested in helping out, we're going to just kind of touch base very informally during coffee hours, and you can just come find me. Second, prepare your yeast and make sure you've got your flour. 2 weeks from today is going to be the bread communion. And so you're welcome to bring breads and stories of bread and breaking bread to share with everybody. So that's 2 weeks from today, November 20th. Other announcements?
Yes, so the first Friday in December is December 2nd, and I'm sure most of you know that's the day of our auction.
Talk louder.
Okay, so our auction is December 2nd, first Friday in December. So we do still need donations, both for the sound auction and for the live auction. These can be prized objects that you want to offer for sale. They can be services that you can provide or favorite dinners that you want to make for people. And whatever you can think of, there's a chance that someone will want it. So you can offer it and let us know. If you don't have anything to donate or the energy to provide a service, don't despair. You can always be an underwriter. Provide a monetary donation or match a percentage of the auction's proceeds. You can also do what Randy did last year, sell your car and donate the money to us. So if you want to go online to announce your donation, to record it, the website, there's a link actually on the homepage of our website now, and you can actually otherwise go to auuf.org/auction. But the easiest way is just to go to the homepage.
So there will be a live auction here?
Yes, there will, right here. Right.
Just check.
Yes.
And that says live auction, is it for the live and silent auction?
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right.
Hi, I was asked to share the religious exploration report on behalf of our coordinator of religious exploration, Angela. She said, we typically have 8 children on the playground between the ages of 1 and 11. We have 2 toddlers registered for the nursery. We have 11 children in K through 6 registered for the childless children. And we have 4 teens registered for peace training. We continue to have 2 RE classes and would like to have a 3rd soon. Thank you to all who have already signed up as playground supervisors. Your help is noticed and appreciated. Just FYI, as a usual rule, we need 2 volunteers on the playground during service each week. If you want to sign up, there is a clipboard. We also need volunteers for childcare during the upcoming auction in December. Angela will not ask you to volunteer for the whole night, but anyone willing to take a shift would be absolutely appreciated. We do need supervisors from 6 to 10, which is very late for some of the youngsters. We need at least 8 volunteers at an hour each. Sign up early so you get the slot you prefer. Angela will be reaching out to parents with information about upcoming holiday events soon. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's, and Easter are all right around the corner. A note from Angela. Thanks to all of you for making the children and youth of AUUF a priority. It is my pleasure to serve as your RE coordinator. If you have any questions or ideas, or if you would like to volunteer in any way, your words and your help are always gratefully appreciated. You can call or text or email CRE@AUUF.org, or just drop by the nursery during second hour today.
Getting back to the auction, I've been requested to organize the beverage part of the auction, which is extremely important. I haven't done it in many, many years. Last time I did it, Ann Pearson gave me a bunch of money to go out and buy booze and ice and all the things you need for the auction. So I'm here requesting that the members provide these items for me, and non-alcoholic beverages, please. And you can bring them to my house, and I will that didn't go off. You can store them in my house, in my heart. But we don't want to leave it here. I think we can. I don't know. Can't do that. Or or call me or email, and I'll come pick it up. And like I said, it's not just the beer and wine we need and sodas. We need coolers and ice and condiments like cups and napkins and all those kinds of things. So I'd be grateful for your help. I know you will.
I got cups.
Huh? You got one cup? Well, bring your own cup. That's an idea. Bring your own cup.
I got to get rid of them. I got cups.
Okay, bring it. Thank you.
And another thing to make the auction really fabulous is food. We used to have a wonderful food table set up over here with lots of savory and sweet finger foods that help feed these hungry bidders. So I am needing lots and lots of people to donate to let me know what you're bringing to the auction. We will be starting the delivery of the food at 5 p.m. before the 6 p.m. start date or start time. And anyway, let me know. We need lots of yummies. Thank you.
And I'm Jan.
And Laura's going to remind everybody, if you really do have items to donate, to get them in so it can be put in a database so they can create the catalog in time. Because doing everything at the last minute is no fun.
Please join us now for our sung benediction.
Peace, peace, peace.
before I close the words, I need to say some thanks. I'd like to thank Martha, Andrew, and Lorna for the wonderful music, Amy and Laura for the wonderful altar. I'd like to thank those who did remembrances, Lorna and Amy, thank you so much. Angela, for her wonderful children's story. And for all of you for sharing. I think this is one of our special services that we do every year. Our closing words by Isabel Allende. There is no death, daughter. We die only when we forget them, my mother explained shortly before she left me. If you can remember me, I will be with you always.